There's a plaster so waterproof that the ancient Moroccans used it to line the insides of cisterns that held drinking water for entire cities. So waterproof that the walls of 1,000-year-old bathhouses still repel water today, as effectively as they did the day they were built. So waterproof that it has been submerged in water continuously for centuries without degrading, cracking, peeling, or allowing a single molecule of moisture through its surface. It is made from three things: limestone powder, water, and a bar of soap. And the only reason you have never heard of it is that it makes $70 billion worth of paint, tile, and waterproof coatings completely unnecessary. No bathroom tile that costs $15 per square foot and cracks at the grout lines within 3 years. No silicone caulk that separates from the surface within 2 years and grows black mold in the gap. No waterproof membrane that costs $500 to install behind tile and still allows moisture through at every seam and penetration point. No paint that blisters, peels, and fails in wet environments within 5 years, regardless of how many coats you apply. Just limestone, water, and soap. Applied by hand, polished with a stone, sealed with a natural fat, and left to protect the wall behind it for the next 1,000 years. Exactly the way it has protected walls across Morocco since before the Crusades began. The American Society for Testing and Materials has published standards confirming that hydraulic lime plasters achieve water vapor permeability ratings that prevent bulk water penetration, while allowing moisture vapor to pass through the wall assembly, eliminating the condensation and mold problems caused by impermeable modern coatings. Research published in the journal Construction and Building Materials confirmed that traditional Moroccan Tadelakt plaster achieves waterproof performance equivalent to or exceeding modern polymer-based coatings with zero synthetic chemical content. The University of Bath in England published peer-reviewed research on lime-based plasters, confirming superior moisture management performance compared to Portland cement and modern gypsum-based systems in wet environments. This is not a Pinterest craft project. This is a building technology with 1,000 years of continuous documented performance in the most demanding wet environment that any wall surface can face. And the $70 billion global paint and waterproof coatings industry has buried it behind an aisle of products that fail in a fraction of the time at 100 times the cost. If you are not subscribed yet, hit subscribe and the bell right now. What they buried, we dig up. Every single video. Travel back with me to approximately 1000 AD, the Medina of Marrakech, the birth of the Moroccan hammam. The hammam is not a luxury spa. It is essential public infrastructure. In Islamic culture, ritual cleanliness is a religious requirement. Every neighborhood in every Moroccan city maintains a public bathhouse where citizens bathe, wash, and purify themselves on a regular schedule. The hammam operates every day. Steam fills every room from floor to ceiling. Water splashes against every surface continuously. The humidity inside a working hammam approaches 100% for hours at a time. These buildings must survive this environment indefinitely. Moroccan communities do not have the resources to rebuild public bathhouses every decade. The walls must resist water penetration permanently. They must resist mold growth permanently. They must resist the thermal cycling of extreme heat from the steam rooms, followed by cool night air when the fires die down. And they must do all of this without materials imported from distant sources, because Marrakech sits in a semi-arid region with limited access to anything except what the land provides locally. The land provides limestone. The Atlas Mountains surrounding Marrakech contain enormous deposits of high-quality limestone that Moroccan builders have quarried since antiquity. When this limestone is fired in a kiln at approximately 900 degrees Celsius, it becomes quicklime. When the quicklime is slaked with water, it becomes lime putty. And when that lime putty is applied to a wall, compressed, polished with a smooth stone, and sealed with a natural soap made from olive oil, it becomes Tadelakt. The word Tadelakt comes from the Berber verb dalak, meaning to knead or to rub. The name describes the technique. The plaster is applied in layers, each one compressed and burnished with a flat stone until the surface becomes dense, smooth, and closed. The final step is the application of a black soap made from olive oil and potash, which reacts chemically with the lime surface to form a calcium stearate layer that is permanently bonded to the plaster at a molecular level. Calcium stearate is waterproof, not water-resistant, waterproof. It is the same compound used in pharmaceutical tablet coatings to prevent moisture absorption. It is the same chemistry that makes certain natural stones water repellent. And when it forms on the surface of Tadelakt through the soap and lime reaction, it creates a permanent waterproof barrier that is not sitting on top of the plaster like a coat of paint. It is chemically bonded into the surface of the plaster itself. It cannot peel, it cannot blister, it cannot separate. It is the wall. Hammams built with Tadelakt in the 11th and 12th centuries are still operational in Marrakech today. The walls are still waterproof. They have been continuously exposed to steam, splash water, and near 100% humidity for 800 to 1,000 years without a single application of paint, sealant, or modern waterproofing product. The same walls, the same plaster, for a millennium. Now move forward to the cisterns, the water storage infrastructure that supplied entire Moroccan cities with drinking water for centuries. Tadelakt was not only used in bathhouses, it was the standard lining material for underground cisterns, water channels, and fountains across Morocco, because it is the only traditional plaster that can be submerged in standing water indefinitely without degrading. The cisterns beneath Marrakech, Fez, and Meknes held thousands of gallons of drinking water in direct contact with Tadelakt-lined walls for months at a time between rainfalls. The water remained clean, the walls remained intact. The plaster did not dissolve, did not leach, did not crack, and did not allow groundwater to contaminate the stored supply from outside. These cisterns functioned for centuries. Some are still intact today. The Tadelakt lining has survived longer submerged in water than most modern waterproof coatings survive exposed to bathroom humidity. Now move to the Roman Empire. Because Tadelakt is not a Moroccan invention, it is a Moroccan perfection of a much older technology. Roman builders used a lime-based waterproof plaster called opus signinum across their empire for lining aqueducts, cisterns, bathhouses, and any surface that needed to resist water. Opus signinum was made from lime putty mixed with crushed terracotta pottery fragments. The crushed particles create a pozzolanic reaction with the lime that produces a hydraulic set, meaning the plaster actually cures in the presence of water and becomes harder and more waterproof over time. Roman aqueducts lined with opus signinum carried drinking water across hundreds of miles of open countryside for 5 centuries without leaking. The Pont de Gare in southern France, built in the 1st century AD, still contains original opus signinum lining that has survived 2,000 years of water contact. The Romans did not invent this technology from nothing. They learned lime plastering from earlier Mediterranean civilizations. Minoan palaces on Crete used lime-based waterproof plasters in their bathing rooms 3,500 years ago. The ancient Greeks used lime plaster to waterproof cisterns and bathhouses across the Aegean world. By the time Moroccan builders developed Tadelakt in the medieval period, lime-based waterproof plastering had already been successfully protecting walls from water for over 2,500 years across 3 continents. This is not an obscure technique from one remote culture. It is a building technology with 3,500 years of documented success across the entire Mediterranean world, refined to its highest form in Morocco, and confirmed by modern materials science as chemically superior to the synthetic waterproof coatings that replaced it. Now stay with me, because the modern chemistry behind this $5 plaster is where the story becomes devastating for the waterproofing industry. Tadelakt was invented over 1,000 years ago and costs $5 per wall. The University of Bath published research confirming that lime-based plasters, including Tadelakt, provide superior moisture management in wet room applications compared to Portland cement renders and modern gypsum-based systems, specifically because of this vapor permeability property. The research documented significantly lower moisture accumulation in wall cavities behind lime plaster compared to identical wall assemblies behind impermeable modern coatings. Lower moisture accumulation means less mold, less rot, less structural damage, less remediation cost, less frequent renovation, less revenue for every company that sells paint, tile, caulk, membrane, mold remediation services, and bathroom renovation labor. So if Tadelakt is waterproof on contact, vapor permeable through its matrix, chemically bonded to the wall surface permanently, proven across 1,000 years of continuous hammam service, confirmed by modern materials science as superior to impermeable coatings, and costs $5 per wall in raw materials, why does every contractor, every home improvement store, and every bathroom renovation company recommend $3,000 to $5,000 in tile, paint, membrane, and caulk instead? Because the $70 billion global paint and coatings industry depends on failure. Paint fails in wet environments in 3 to 5 years. It must be reapplied. Revenue. Silicone caulk fails in 1 to 3 years. It must be replaced. Revenue. Grout cracks and stains within 2 to 5 years. It must be repaired or replaced. Revenue. Waterproof membranes degrade at seams and penetration points. They must be replaced during renovation. Revenue. The renovation itself costs $10,000 to $25,000. Revenue. A single bathroom generates $15,000 to $40,000 in waterproofing-related revenue over a 30-year home ownership period through repeated product failure, replacement, and renovation cycles. Tadelakt generates $5 in limestone powder and a bar of soap. Once, and then never again. A product that works permanently is a product that is purchased once. A product purchased once generates 1 transaction. 1 transaction does not sustain a $70 billion global industry. Repeated failure sustains a $70 billion global industry. And every product on the waterproofing aisle of every hardware store in the Western world is designed to fail within a time frame that generates the next purchase. Tadelakt is waterproof on its surface, Bulk water, splash, and direct contact cannot penetrate through the calcium stearate layer, but Tadelakt is vapor permeable through its matrix. Water vapor, the gaseous form of moisture, can pass through the lime plaster matrix slowly and escape to the room side where it evaporates. This means Tadelakt blocks liquid water from entering the wall, while simultaneously allowing trapped moisture vapor to escape from inside the wall. The wall stays dry on both sides. Liquid water cannot get in, vapor moisture cannot get trapped. The conditions that cause mold growth, wood rot, and structural moisture damage inside the wall cavity simply do not exist behind a Tadelakt surface. Modern materials, science calls this selective permeability. It is the same principle that makes Gore-Tex fabric work. Blocks liquid water from outside, allows vapor moisture to escape from inside. The difference is that Gore-Tex was invented in 1969 and costs $300 per jacket. Tadelakt was invented over 1,000 years ago and costs $5 per wall. The University of Bath published research confirming that lime-based plasters including Tadelakt provide superior moisture management in wet room applications compared to Portland cement renders and modern gypsum-based systems, specifically because of this vapor permeability property. The research documented significantly lower moisture accumulation in wall cavities behind lime plaster compared to identical wall assemblies behind impermeable modern coatings. Lower moisture accumulation means less mold, less rot, less structural damage, less remediation cost, less frequent renovation, less revenue for every company that sells paint, tile, caulk, membrane, mold remediation services, and bathroom renovation labor. So if Tadelakt is waterproof on contact, vapor permeable through its matrix, chemically bonded to the wall surface permanently, proven across 1,000 years of continuous hammam service, confirmed by modern materials, science is superior to impermeable coatings, and costs $5 per wall in raw materials. Why does every contractor, every home improvement store, and every bathroom renovation company recommend $3,000 to $5,000 in tile, paint, membrane, and caulk instead? Because the $70 billion global paint and coatings industry depends on failure. Paint fails in wet environments in 3 to 5 years. It must be reapplied. Revenue. Silicone caulk fails in 1 to 3 years. Damaged, crumbling, or unstable wall surfaces must be repaired before Tadelakt is applied. It is not a fix for structural wall problems. But here is what Tadelakt absolutely does within these honest limitations. It creates a permanently waterproof, vapor-permeable surface that prevents bulk water penetration while allowing trapped moisture to escape. It eliminates the conditions that cause mold growth behind bathroom walls. It bonds chemically to the wall surface and cannot peel, blister, or separate. It requires zero maintenance, zero repainting, and zero resealing for the life of the building. And it has been doing this continuously in the most demanding wet environments on Earth for over 1,000 years. Here is exactly what to do with this knowledge starting today. Source Tadelakt grade lime. European and North American specialty suppliers sell prepared Tadelakt lime in 20 to 50 pound bags for $30 to $60. One bag covers approximately 50 to 80 square feet of wall surface depending on application thickness. Prepare your wall surface. Tadelakt adheres best to a rough lime-based scratch coat or a rough cement render. Smooth surfaces should be scored or roughened to provide mechanical grip. Drywall can be used as a substrate with proper preparation, but a cement board backer provides a more stable base in wet areas. Mix the Tadelakt plaster to a thick, creamy consistency. Apply the first layer at approximately 1/8 inch thickness using a steel trowel. Allow it to firm slightly. Apply a second layer at the same thickness. Begin compressing and polishing the surface with a flat stone or polishing stone when the plaster is firm to the point where light pressure leaves no mark but heavy pressure still densifies the surface. Polish the entire surface to a smooth, closed finish. The polishing action compresses the lime crystals at the surface, closing the pores and creating the dense layer that provides waterproof performance. While the surface is still slightly damp and not fully cured, apply black olive oil soap diluted in water using a soft cloth or sponge. Work the soap into the surface with gentle circular motions. The soap reacts with the lime to form calcium stearate, the permanent waterproof molecular layer that bonds into the plaster surface. Allow the Tadelakt to cure for a minimum of 2 weeks before exposing it to direct water contact. During curing, the lime continues to carbonate, gaining hardness and density. Premature water exposure can disrupt the curing process and reduce final waterproof performance. A homesteader in Vermont applied Tadelakt to her entire bathroom, replacing the tile, grout, caulk, paint, and waterproof membrane that had failed twice in 12 years at a total renovation cost of $8,000. Her Tadelakt material cost was $85 for lime and soap. She spent 1 weekend applying the plaster with guidance from online tutorials. That was 4 years ago. The walls show zero moisture penetration, zero mold, and zero maintenance. Her bathroom has not required a single repair since installation. $85 in materials versus $8,000 in failed renovations. The same bathroom, The same shower, the same steam, splash, and daily water contact. One solution lasted 4 years and counting with no signs of failure. The other solution failed twice in 12 years. Let me state these numbers one final time. A $5 per wall application of Tadelakt limestone plaster creates a permanently waterproof, vapor-permeable surface that is chemically bonded to the wall and cannot peel, blister, or separate. Moroccan hammams coated in Tadelakt have remained waterproof for 800 to 1,000 years of continuous daily steam and water exposure. Roman lime plaster cisterns and aqueducts remained waterproof for 2,000 years. A modern bathroom renovation costs $10,000 to $25,000 and uses paint, tile, grout, caulk. Again, waterproof membrane that fail within 3 to 10 years and require repeated replacement at comparable cost. The University of Bath confirmed lime plasters provide superior moisture management with lower mold risk than modern impermeable coatings. ASTM standards confirm hydraulic lime plasters block bulk water while allowing vapor transmission. Construction and Building Materials Journal confirmed Tadelakt matches or exceeds modern polymer coatings. And a $70 billion paint and coatings industry needs every bathroom in every home to fail on a predictable schedule so that every homeowner walks back to the paint aisle, the tile aisle, the caulk aisle, and eventually the contractor's phone number every 5 to 10 years for the rest of their lives. Your grandmother's walls are still standing in Marrakesh, still waterproof, still protecting the room behind them after 1,000 years of steam and water. Then, a modern industry convinced your generation that waterproofing requires 7 layers of synthetic products that fail before the mortgage is paid off. But today, sitting right here, you just learned how to make walls waterproof forever for $5. If this video opens something for you, subscribe and share it with every person you know who has ever discovered mold behind their bathroom tile and been told it would cost $5,000 to fix. Every share preserves what the waterproofing industry spent 1,000 years keeping on the other side of the Mediterranean and out of your hardware store. The next video drops soon. What is inside weighs even heavier.